I think they're just straight up lying. That's it. Like a child. Like a child that learned the wrong lessons. Maybe a child who lied and then got benefits from it and realized, oh, there's no repercussions for this. I'm just going to keep doing it over and over again. And that's where we're at right now. Let's take a look at what Jesse Waters said in terms of, you know, the practical uses of lying. How likely is the government to cut Social Security for mental health disabilities? Nothing is off the table. Okay. Do not worry. MHUD sent me this. It's Monday. Doge is the laziest, most overpaid bunch of incompetent, unelected bureaucrats we've ever seen. I'm starting to think Doge employees don't work 120-hour weeks. They receive $7 million to have ChatGPT build them a website, embedding a single Twitter feed and nothing else. Is this guy just like a Doge hater? But he hates on Doge from the perspective of efficiency, because I love that. I think it's very funny to shit on Doge by being like, I wish they were doing what they claimed they were doing. I want to destroy the federal government. These guys are not doing it well enough. Yes, and he knows his shit. So I, of course, also did a little bit of reading into the Doge stuff. Not necessarily the broader scopes, but the broader scope of the Doge stuff or the incompetence. But, of course, whenever Elon Musk or any Republican administrator comes out and says some insane shit, you have to, unfortunately, go and do a little bit of reading to figure out what's actually going on. It is truly frustrating. On a totally different note, it is insanely frustrating that when a government employee now says anything, I immediately am like, that's definitely wrong. It's annoying, okay? No, don't say, wow, now it's good to do your own research. Like, yes, it should not be that way, okay? Yes, when a federal government employee says something, it should be at least kind of true, okay? Maybe I'm crazy, call me woke, or call me a liberal, maybe, okay? But with like the exception of, I don't know, the State Department or whatever, okay? Even with the State Department, the expectation from me is, you know, just say things that are at least kind of true. Okay? Really, seriously. Like, they don't even, like, at least back in the day, they had some skin in the game. They wanted to do some semblance of like institutional preservation. So they basically would at least like massage the truth. Right now, they just straight up will just be like, yeah, there are 700 million people on Social Security, and every single one of them is 180 years old. And it's like, okay, well, that's not true. Like, that's literally just not, like, I know that that's not true. And it's not 180, it's 150, and the number is actually 400 million, according to Elon Musk. But I'm just giving you an exaggerated example. And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating that like every fucking day they come out. Maybe this is a super dumb thing to get annoyed by. Maybe I'm silly, okay? But it makes me so mad that virtually everything that this government says is not only just a lie, but it's also the stupidest kind of lie. And also every single fucking person that is a supporter of this administration, this regime, immediately believes it and starts repeating it over and over and over again. Obviously intentional. I don't think it's that intentional. I don't think Ezra Klein, they're doing a media blitz to like keep you paying attention to like silly things to make you feel tired and scared. I don't think that's correct. I don't think that it's a strategy. I think they're just fucking stupid. I think we're giving them too much credit. No, they realized lying is awesome and it works because there is no apparatus to successfully combat this kind of stuff because nobody trusts mainstream media anymore. So they just lie. That's it. You don't have to be super brilliant to lie, especially in the way that they lie, because the way that they lie is not even like in any way, shape, or form giving credit to the previous liars of previous administrations, whether they were the government stooges of the past, such as like the George H.W. Bushes of the world, or whether it be people that at least cared about like the idea that the American government is a functioning body, and that they will massage the truth, but they won't actually just straight up come out and be like, yeah, actually, Social Security was giving every trans person $1 million. We should kill the trans people now because Social Security was giving them $1 million. Who's going to check me? No one. You know what I mean? That's literally that is the modus operandi. That is how they're operating. Every fucking day, they'll come out and be like, yeah, we found out that Social Security was giving $1 billion to anyone who is of Guatemalan descent, actually, as long as they're undocumented. And then everybody believes it. It's like, how? Well, what are you saying right now? That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. But I said, once again, I repeat this. It is not like some brilliant thing, okay? I don't think this is a brilliant strategy to like flood the market. I don't think that they have like a coherent, well-established worldview. I don't even think that they're in allegiance with one another. I would say that broadly, there's like three different camps within the administrative state at this moment. Okay, you have the Republican institutional defenders, like the Mitch McConnells of the world. They're a dying breed, but they still very much are represented in like even the Federalist Society, judges and justices and whatnot. Some of them do care about like institutional preservation. You have the billionaire kleptocrats that don't care about anything, but that just want to do the Curtis Yarvin gutting of all institutions and create like this weird techno monarchy. Okay, and then you have the MAGA guys who are just loyal to Trump, and that's it. Okay, broadly defined, I feel like there's three camps. There's three different camps in the Republican Party. None of them agree with one another. None of them want the same things. They're all just basically held together by resentment towards libtards. Okay? Pretty much. Resentment towards libtards, and the Republican institution defenders that are Republican, like the old school Republicans, obviously care about deregulation and tax cuts for the wealthy and stuff. So they're fine with the kleptocrats running the show. And the MAGA guys are too stupid to recognize that this actually harms them. This doesn't help them at all. So that's basically it. That's like how they've been able to create this delicate allegiance. But I don't think that they have like long-term plans that are, I don't think they have long-term plans that are directly aligned with one another. Okay? But at the end of the day, they're not putting forth like a brilliant strategy that requires a lot of forethought and is deliberately destroying confidence in the media or whatever, right? I think they're just straight up lying. That's it. Like a child. Like a child that learned the wrong lessons. Maybe a child who lied and then got benefits from it and realized, oh, there's no repercussions for this. I'm just going to keep doing it over and over again. And that's where we're at right now. Let's take a look at what Jesse Waters said in terms of, you know, the practical uses of lying.
It's not really the same. Dana, we are waging a 21st century information warfare campaign against the left, and they are using tactics from the 1990s. They are holding tiny press conferences, tiny little rallies. They're screaming into the ether on MSNBC. This is what you call top-down command and control. You get your talking points from a newspaper, and you put it on the broadcast network. And
also, one of the funniest aspects of the way they constantly do this, and there's like similarities with how like online drama amongst content creators work as well, it's always projection. It's the most annoying projection of all time. They're like, oh, you know, the notes come down from the big guys up top, and then MSNBC repeats it. Like, does that happen to a certain degree? Absolutely. Okay. Yes. MSNBC are the, you know, regime defenders when the regime is liberal, for sure. MSNBC also is comprised almost entirely of former Republicans and current Republicans. Everyone on mainstream news is a Republican. It's like, oh, did you work for George W. Bush at the peak of the war on terror? Did you justify torture? Please step right ahead. Be our progressive commentator, please. That's literally what it is. It's like the entirety of mainstream outlets are dominated by center-right and far-right psychopaths across the board. Okay. And yes, there are still exceptions. All right. Give me a break. Yes, Chris Hayes is not a Republican. Okay. He's literally a HasanAbi head. I love when people just like actively choose to misunderstand the point I'm making. Not every single person on MSNBC is a Republican. Okay. Although they do align quite frequently with Republican strategies and Republican policies in general. Center right, you are so American, dude. Oh, yes, I 100% will stand by the statement I am making here. The modern Democratic Party's broader strokes are all center right. Okay? Kamala Harris ran against socialized medicine, even though Kamala Harris ran against socialized medicine, even though she initially in 2019 in her failed primary campaign was pro-Medicare for all. Kamala Harris ran towards a more muscular military. Kamala Harris ran towards muscular border policy. This is not a controversial take. These are center-right positions. Okay? Those guys are just right-wing at least, not center-right. What? I'm confused as to what your perspective is here. Okay? And they were full tilt on the complete destruction of Palestinian statehood and Palestinian lives in general. Okay? I think maybe you're saying that the Democrats are just like right wing and then the Republicans are far right, which fine, I agree. Okay. If that's what you're saying, I agree with you. Oh, then yeah, I agree with you. This is okay. I thought you were trying to say something different. There's this sentiment amongst the left that the center left doesn't exist. I mean, it kind of doesn't. It kind of does not exist. Okay? And I'll tell you why. It's because I think liberalism requires you to not really maintain any sort of hardline approach, okay? Beyond, I guess, like some social progressive perspectives, but like you almost entirely agree with the Republicans on economic policy because the center, the fundamentals within liberals and Republicans, liberals in America and Republicans in America, the fundamentals are the same. It's like the protection of private property and never really actively pushing for any kind of like labor protections beyond like marginal improvements, and you're not even playing catch up at that point. You're basically trying to plug some holes to the best of your ability. Like this kind of stuff it's clearly not bringing about the material change that people want to see. Okay? Center left doesn't. It is just easier to say you're moderate, but given more left policies, most people would agree with them. Center left to me means you just don't follow politics too much. Yeah. Anyway, but let's get back to the right wing, okay? Actively projecting and claiming that all the notes are coming down the top. And that's why we have to do full-scale information war.
And then it disappears. What you're seeing on the right is asymmetrical. It's like grassroots guerrilla warfare. Someone says something on social media, Musk retweets it, Rogan podcasts it, Fox broadcasts it, and by the time it reaches everybody, millions of people have seen it. It's free money. And we're actually talking about expressing information. They are suppressing information. It's not really the same. Dana, we are...
Yeah, real grassroots, dude. I love when I explain a grassroots movement by explaining astroturfing and how it works and how it is entirely directed by right-wing billionaires, which is what's going on. Is every Fox News commentator just Tim Pool now? They always were. Anyway, grassroots is the richest man on the planet, boosting his own posts on his own media platform for all of his sycophants. Yeah, I know. That words have no meaning. But that's what I mean. The truth doesn't matter. If misinformation, if narrative overcomes the truth, okay? If narrative is more important than the actual, the actual truth, then the truth doesn't matter. There is no such thing as the truth at that point. If everybody believes it, then it might as well be the case. And that's where we're at currently. What is this? Why should there an entire class in this country that is immunized from prosecution for committing felonies? What? Ay. You seem to be talking about collective insanity. Yes, I am talking about that because that's precisely where we are. In many respects, that is precisely where we are. Anyway, and I do think that as America is bouldering towards collective psychosis and also undermining quite a good deal of decent government programs and you know, gutting their funding, engaging in mass layoffs, other competent countries are not going to engage in that. The only countries that are going to engage in that are countries that are going to be forced to engage in that sort of thing. Okay? Western European nations, for example. This is why I covered the I covered the problem with the whole like Europe has to build its own standing army now narrative. Because in order to build your own standing army, you're going to have to start doing austerity. You're going to have to continuously cut social safety nets in an effort to fund a military that is competent. Okay? And it will be beneficial for a lot of European leaders in the same way that it was beneficial for our American leaders who are in the pocket of the military-industrial complex. Europe is going to go through its own version of this this industrial military Keynesianism policies that America has been going through for decades now.